Welcome to today's Homeowner 101 workshop, all about indoor basics. Wow, so you just moved into your new, and it's a time for excitement.
Yep.
Excited about what you just accomplished, excited about the move itself, and excited to personalize your own space. That's my favorite part.
Yeah.
Right? So what happens after you move in? Do you know how to maintain what's probably your largest investment? My name's Robin. This is my co-host, Richard. Richard, why don't you tell us what we're going to talk about today?
Sure. Thank you, Robin. We have a lot of great information for you today. We're going to start by talking a little about inspection reports, what they are and how they can help you.
Sure.
Next, we'll look at keeping you and your loved ones safe in your new home, and maybe looking at some things you may not have thought of.
Yeah.
And finally, we're going to go into talking about some maintenance items and schedules that can keep the appliances and the systems in your home running for years to come.
You know what? That sounds like a lot of great information, Richard. And, I've heard lately that a lot of people are buying homes and they're waiving that inspection report. They're not going ahead to get that inspection report. Is that a good idea?
Yeah, Robin, a lot of people are choosing not to get an inspection report before purchasing their home, and that is not a good practice.
Yeah.
I just recently moved into my house and had an inspection report performed before closing the deal.
Yeah.
It really helped me understand the state of the house and potential fixes which will be needed, right, to be placed in my budget.
Yeah.
Right. I have friends that have avoided the inspection report just to beat out other potential buyers.
Yeah.
And yes, they did beat the potential buyers, but then got some hidden surprises.
Yeah.
Right? So that now they are worried what else can go wrong.
Right.
Instead of enjoying their new house and already knowing what is wrong. Right? Okay. Having a professional inspection report is a great resource regarding the life of your home. It is a great place to see what your home may need and when it may need it.
Right.
Right? Okay. So this can help you negotiate the price of the home or budget for a large expense that may eventually come up.
Right. Now, you could get a lot of peace of mind just by having that inspection report. But what if someone did go ahead and waive it, like your friend, and they went ahead and bought that house anyway? Is it still worth going back and having that inspection report?
Yeah, great question, Robin. And yes, it is worth it, especially if the home is a older one. Yeah. An inspection can give you insight into all the major mechanical systems in your home, as well as the structure itself. Is your roof going to be needing replacement? How is your HVAC system working? These are very expensive replacements. Robin knows a little bit about this. Just recently, she had to replace her HVAC system.
Yeah.
You're talking thousands of dollars.
Tens of thousands, yeah.
Exactly. So knowing this can give you an idea if you have 5 months or if you have 5 years before you need to be concerned.
Right. That is great advice, Richard. There's some other things that we really want to talk about, really around keeping your family safe and secure in your new home.
Yeah.
So when you moved into your home, did you inherit a garage door opener with remotes?
I did.
Yeah, so did I. Did you change those codes?
I didn't.
I didn't. Do you have any idea who may have a garage door opener for your garage? No, not really. I mean, I never even thought about changing the code to my garage door openers. In all garage door openers, they have what they call dip switches, right? And just by changing the configuration on both the opener and the remote, any old remotes that might be programmed to your opener are no longer going to work.
Robin, that is such a simple thing, and I never really thought about it much. Thinking along those same lines, have you ever thought about who may have access not only to your garage doors, but to your doors? Front doors, okay? One of our coworkers, they purchased a house a while back and wanted to do some renovations before moving in. He was inside doing some painting when suddenly front door opens. There you go. And then a real estate agent came in with a couple that was interested in purchasing the home that he just bought, right? How many sets of keys are out there that you don't know about?
Right. I mean, if your house is on the market, there could be keys anywhere. I mean, that's a really great point. It's a great idea just to go ahead and change the locks on your home as soon as you can.
Definitely. And checking out your locks is a simple DIY project and can ensure no one still has access to your home.
Right.
This may even be a great time to consider a smart lock like we have here that can be opened with a code or remotely by your phone. That way, if you hire anyone to do some renovations in your house, well, then you just give them a code. And when they're done, no problem, you change that code and they no longer have access to your house.
Right. That is a great idea, Richard. Speaking about codes, what about alarm systems? If there's an alarm system in my house.
True. That is another safety feature that sometimes gets overlooked. If you have a home, right, that came with a security system, you should make sure you update the codes. And if there is a monitoring service involved, make sure you get that adjusted for your family.
Yeah. These are all great ways to make sure that no one has access to your home. But I really think we should talk about some other safety considerations around, like, within your house, not just people coming into your house.
Yeah.
What happens if a pipe bursts? Do you know where your shutoffs are? What if you're going to go ahead and change out that ugly 80s ceiling fan, right, that the previous owner left behind?
Got it.
Do you know where the breaker is to turn off the power to that? Or what happens if you go ahead to prepare your first meal in your new house and all of a sudden you smell gas?
Ooh.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
These are all really great questions. And what should we do?
One of the first things you should do after changing out those locks is to make sure that everybody in the house knows where your main shutoffs are.
Okay.
For power, water, and if you have it, possibly gas.
Okay.
Now, your main electrical shutoff, that's going to be located usually in or near your breaker box where all the individual breakers are.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes, though, like in my house, that main breaker can be in its own box located outside by my electric meter. All right. So you kind of have to look around, and there's different varieties of that as well. All right. Richard, why don't you tell us about those water shutoffs, where we can find those?
Sure. So water shutoff valves can also have a few places where they're located, right? If you have municipal water, you will have a meter, right? Which will tell you how much you got to pay every month. Right? This can be located in the ground under a cover, right? Normally it's a green cover close to the street. Okay. Your shutoff valve will be on the house side of the meter. What does that mean? The valve that's closest to the house, that's the valve you are responsible for, right? There are usually also a main water shutoff inside of your house as well, right? Often these are right next to the water heater. It can be in your basement. It can be in your garage. So that one's really important to know as well. So, Robin, not all houses will have gas, but if they do, where are those shutoff valves usually found?
Yeah, so the gas shutoff valves are usually right by your gas meter. Because again, if you have gas, you have to pay for it. There's going to be a meter. So just like the water, the valve that is between the meter and your house, that's going to be your main shutoff for the whole house. Now, knowing where these shutoffs are can save your home from a lot of damage or even destruction should an emergency arise. During an emergency is not the time to figure out where these shutoffs in your home are, right? You want to know that ahead of time. So, maybe make it fun. Have a scavenger hunt. Try to figure out where all the shutoffs are, not only for you, but all your family members. If you have older children or other family members that are living with you and something happens when you're not home, they should probably know where those shutoffs are as well. So, Richard, what other things should we think about in keeping our family safe inside our homes?
Sure. Just before we get on to the next subject, I also thought about once you do that scavenger hunt that you're talking about, let's label. those valves.
Right. Great idea.
Put on a tag, right? If it's an exterior valve, maybe laminate that tag so you're protected from the weather. That's a good idea.
Great idea. Great idea.
So did you know that fires are one of the top 5 hazards found in homes?
Wow. Yeah.
Fire safety is so important that we have a whole on-demand workshop dedicated to it exclusively.
Right.
But we thought we should just touch on some important points here as well.
Yeah, I think so.
So all kitchens should have a working fire extinguisher. The tank should be full, and the tag or label will indicate when it expires. Okay. Most household fire extinguishers are one-time use. So make sure it has not expired. If it has an indicator, make sure it reads full. Okay.
This one.
Full.
See right there.
You always never want to see it halfway. You want to make sure that is a complete tank when you need it. Okay.
Right.
Now, commercial fire extinguishers may be refilled or recharged. If they are, they will usually have a tag on them to indicate when they were last tested. They should be tested every year.
Yeah.
All right. So fire extinguishers are designed for specific types of fires. So make sure you have the right type or a combination extinguisher that covers all types of fires, right?
Absolutely.
You got grease fires, you got electrical fires, etc., etc. There are also different styles and mechanisms. So make sure you know how your extinguisher works. Like we said before, when the emergency happens, it's not the time to look up a how-to video on how something works when it's so important like that.
Absolutely, right? You don't have enough time in the emergency. All right, so kitchens need a fire extinguisher. Is there anything else I should be concerned with in regards to fire in my home?
Sure, absolutely. First off, you need to keep the fire and any sparks contained by having an appropriate screen or door on your fireplace.
Right.
Right? Not only does this keep what should stay in the fireplace in, it also keeps what should stay out of the fireplace out, right?
Right.
By ensuring that small children or pets cannot get close enough to get burned.
Yeah, it's important.
Make sure that any flammable items are kept away from the fireplace. Decorative items like drapes and pillows can easily catch on fire if they accidentally come in contact with the flames or flying sparks. So I know those pillows look really cute.
Right.
I'm on the fireplace, like you see on the magazines, but the reality is they are a fire hazard. So let's keep them away. Finally, if there is no record of when the chimney was cleaned and inspected, you should have that done before you start using the fireplace. So before you start doing those s'mores, let's make sure that chimney is inspected, okay?
Yeah, because, you could get that buildup inside that can be flammable, cause a chimney fire.
Yes.
And you also want to have it inspected to make sure that it's in good shape. It's working properly to take that smoke out of your house. Now I really could see why we have an entire workshop dedicated just to fire safety. Now, we just touched on a few important things to know when you first move in, but I think we should look at a few more safety issues you might need to think about in your new home.
Excellent. So if your new home is new to you, but not newly built, there are some concerns that may not be as obvious.
True.
This is where that home inspection really pays off. So let's go with the first. The first is mold.
Right.
Mold may not be immediately visible, but you want to look in damp or wet areas first, like kitchens, baths, and utility rooms.
Right.
If you find any long-standing moisture, you can get a mold test at your local Home Depot. There are various types of mold, and not all of them are dangerous, but some can cause major health issues. If you find mold, you may want to call in the professionals. Okay?
Absolutely.
If your home was built before 1980, you may have to check for lead paint or asbestos.
Yeah.
Okay. Neither one of these are dangerous if they are left alone.
Right.
Like myself, right?
Very true. Just leave him alone. He's
All right.
not dangerous.
Exactly. So they become dangerous when they are disturbed,
Right.
and the dust enters the air and is inhaled.
Right.
Okay. Lead paint can also be dangerous if it flakes and then ingested.
Mhm.
This can be especially dangerous when you have small children or pets, right?
Right.
Yeah, so both asbestos and lead paint will need professional remediation to remove.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the last safety consideration we are going to talk about is ungrounded electrical.
Yeah.
We get this a lot in our workshops, so ask questions. If your home was built before 1971, your electrical system may not be grounded.
Right.
Okay. Now, if you have outlets that only accept two prong plugs,
Those little prong plugs.
those are ungrounded.
Mhm.
And just because you have the space for that third prong does not necessarily mean that the outlets are properly grounded.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So this is a safety issue. And ungrounded outlets can be a shock and or a fire hazard.
Absolutely.
Okay. So ungrounded outlets will need to be addressed by a professional.
Yeah, those are really important. Just because you see room for all three of those prongs doesn't mean, and you have an older home, doesn't mean that they actually grounded those outlets properly.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there is no way other than a professional to properly rewire and reground those outlets. So now that is a lot of great information. I have kind of a question regarding those less obvious concerns that we just talked about, asbestos, ungrounded electrical. What is one of the best ways to find out if my home has that specific issue?
All right. I'll give everyone a guess. You guys ready? An inspection report.
Absolutely.
Robin, if you can, please show an inspection that we have here.
Look at
Having that professional inspector come in will check all of these issues and so much more. Just look at that. Look how comprehensive it is.
Everything.
It really can give you a comprehensive overview of the health of your home, as well as the most important part, peace of mind.
For sure.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
lots of information covered in that inspection report. The safety in your new home is really important, but you also want to consider maintenance.
Yeah.
After you've made that big move and finally settled in, how am I going to maintain all of this stuff? By keeping up with the maintenance of your home systems and appliances, you can make sure that they are working in top condition and hopefully performing for years to come.
Yeah, so most of the systems and appliances in your home have a suggested schedule for maintenance to keep them running properly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it is a good idea to keep a record of the maintenance performed on your home, but it is a great idea to keep track of when the new systems are installed or appliances are purchased.
For sure.
Anything that requires a regular maintenance should be marked on a calendar or a reminder set on your smart home device.
Absolutely.
Right? These are great. You use them all the time. I have them set up all the time for different reminders running around the house and even shopping lists, etc., etc.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about some specific devices in your home that need regular maintenance.
One of the most important appliances to maintain regularly in your home are your smoke detectors. Yeah. Now, again, we go into a lot of detail on both smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors in our fire safety workshops, but there's a few things we'd like to cover here. First of all, you should test them monthly. All right. All smoke detectors are going to have a test button on them. Just test them and make sure that they're working properly. Now, there's two facts about smoke detectors that everybody should know. First of all, every smoke detector is going to have a battery, whether it's hardwired or if it's a battery only, it's going to have a battery in it. And that's because if the power goes out in your home, you will always have that battery backup to make sure that your smoke detector is working properly. Okay. Yeah. The other thing that most people don't realize, your smoke detector has a shelf life, right? The entire unit needs to be replaced every 10 years.
Okay.
They only work for about 10 years. Now, if you're not sure how old your smoke detectors are, you can either just go ahead and replace them just to be safe,
Sure.
or if you take them down, all of your smoke detectors will have a manufacturer's date written on them somewhere so you can see exactly when they were manufactured. And if it's within that 10 years, you're still good.
Awesome. So, hey, I never realized that, and I'm gonna have to go home and see how old my smoke detectors are. So, before we move on with our next topic, I wanted to share a short story.
Sure.
Right? So, just about a couple of weeks ago, when it was still nice and really cold here, we had a couple of freeze nights here in Georgia. Around 3 or 4 in the morning, the famous chirp started happening in my master bedroom. Right? So I told myself, all right, well, I guess it's time to change out the battery, right? Well, then we got around to it. Next night, 3, 4 in the morning again, chirp. And I'm like, wow, that's very consistent.
Right.
Like 3, 4 in the morning, always, right? So mentioned it to my coworkers, and they said, well, actually, apart from it's telling you that it's time to change the battery, the reason why it's doing that is because since the battery is almost already failing at those hours, 3, 4 in the morning, it's when your house is the coldest.
Right.
Temperature really affects battery life.
Right.
So during those peak hours of being cold, the battery was getting drained faster, and it was notifying me, hey, it's time to change.
Change me.
So
Change
just a little look, right? So now, besides smoke detectors, there is another thing that often gets overlooked and really needs regular maintenance. That is your dryer vents.
Right.
Right? Okay. Dryer lint is one of the most flammable substances in your home. As a matter of fact, I know people that use dryer lint as a fire starter when they go camping.
I do.
Look at that. So it is really important to make sure you are cleaning out your dryer vent at least once a year. This will not only prevent a potential fire hazard, okay, but it will also make your dryer more efficient. If the vents are clogged, the dryer needs to work harder, right, to get that closed nice and dry, and that puts more strain on the appliance. As a matter of fact, if your dryer is not working well, the first thing you should do is try cleaning the vents, right? Instead of just instantly trying to think about replacing the dryer.
Absolutely. A lot of people mistake that. They're like, oh, my dryer's not working. I got to go ahead and replace it. But not necessarily. So is cleaning the vents something that a homeowner can do themselves, or are they going to need to call a pro in for that?
Well, listen, definitely vent cleaning is absolutely a DIY project. It may be a little messy.
True.
Okay. You will need a shop vac or vacuum with a hose attachment.
Right.
You can buy the brush and extension rods at your local Home Depot.
Just like these.
Yeah. These brushes are designed to fit into your venting and loosen up all of the vents. Loosen up all of the lints.
Right.
Then they can be vacuumed out, or maybe, or probably, it's going to happen the next time you turn on that dryer, it's going to blow all of that out.
Right. So expect after you clean it out, you're going to kind of get a little pile of fluff outside.
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly. It's all part of it, but you're doing your job in keeping you and your family safe.
Right.
Okay, excellent. In addition to the vent outside, you will also want to clean the lint trap, okay, in your dryer itself.
Right.
But the difference here is this should be cleaned every time you use your dryer.
For sure.
Not every 6 months, not every 3 months, not every week. Every time you use your dryer, take out the lint trap, give it a good clean, okay? If you're able to reach the back of your dryer, right, then cleaning the exhaust vent, okay, the exhaust vent, that's right, that's on the back part of your dryer, this is also good practice. Using these same brushes we mentioned before, right, it's going to make it a breeze, right? So really, really, really important. But yes, it is a DIY project for sure.
Yeah, you could definitely do it yourself. Speaking of kind of keeping things clean to keep them working, how many of you know that your HVAC system has filters? So if you have a forced hot air heating system, which about 80% of the country does, you probably have a furnace. And that means you have filters, right? You should change these filters as soon as you move in. All right. Because you have no idea when the previous owner changed them. Did they keep up with it? Yeah. Now, the first time you change a filter, it's a really good idea to kind of take a picture of it while it's still in place, so you know exactly which direction it goes. Okay. So this has to go in the direction of the airflow from the handler into your furnace system. So make sure you notice which direction that airflow goes. It's also a great opportunity for you to get the size of the filter. All right. Now, there's a variety of different filters on the market that you can purchase. The most common is this pleated air filter.
Yeah.
And these should be changed every 3 months. Right? Every 3 months in order to maintain the quality in your home, as well as keep that HVAC system running efficiently.
That's right. So remember, everyone, these filters are basically the lungs in your house.
Right.
That's why it's so important. Let's take away the efficiency part. Let's talk about the health part. That's why it's so important to change out your filters so frequently.
Mm-hmm.
So, Robin, that was all great information. Like you said, changing the filter regularly will maintain your system efficient, which in turn will keep your heating and cooling bill as low as possible.
True.
Now, I want to share 2 quick tips before we move on.
Mm-hmm.
On the side of the filter, you will see a small calendar, which lets you know if you install on this month, then you will need to change on this month. So make sure to mark them, right? Use a Sharpie. It's the best way to go. Mm-hmm. Right? This will help you keep track of the dates. Also, a quick way to remember, right, the size of your filter, like Robin said, you can take a picture of it with your phone,
mm-hmm.
is to write the dimensions somewhere that's easily accessible without having to remove the filter.
Right.
So, for instance, in my house, right, I wrote the dimensions on the first step of my attic ladder. My unit is up in the attic, so I go ahead, I pull down the attic ladder, and on that first step that's always on my eyesight, I went ahead, jot down the dimensions. That way it's easy. I can go ahead, see the dimension real quickly, go purchase it, and then go upstairs and change it out.
Hey, that's really great. So for me, because I'm one of those people, I never think about buying a new furnace filter until I'm at the local Home Depot in front of the furnace filters. Mm-hmm. I actually have it kept on a note in my phone.
Nice.
Where it says filter size, furnace filter size, so that when it reminds me, because I'm somewhere and I see filters, I'm like, oh, I have to pick those up. I have it right on me. So whatever method works for you, but make sure you're keeping track of these things so you can easily access them. I love that attic pull down idea too, so you don't have to go all the way up the attic to get it.
I love your idea of the notes.
Mm-hmm.
We love each other's ideas.
Hey, we got great ideas here.
So are the filters the only part of the HVAC system that should be cleaned out?
You know what? It's really not a bad idea to clean out those individual vents in each room. When you have a system like this, you're going to have vents going into every single room in your house, and those are going to get dusty. In my case, maybe you'll get some pet hair in there. I have dogs in my house, so they just kind of get clogged up and they clog your system. And like Richard said, the HVAC system's kind of like the lungs of your home. Yeah. So you want to keep them clean and clear. So you can kind of get in there with your vacuum and vacuum them off.
Yeah.
Maybe once or twice a year, maybe even take that brush that you use for your dryer, kind of loosen up some of that dust and dirt that's up there in those vents and vacuum it all out. It's really going to help with the overall air quality within your home.
That sounds great. Now, remember, your HVAC system is comprised of 2 items.
Mm-hmm.
The blower unit, which is typically inside, and the condenser unit, which is for the most part installed outside of your home, okay? At least once a year, right, it's a good practice to clean the condenser fins or the outside unit completely on the outside, right? It should be cleaned with a mild detergent and water. Now, remember, when I mentioned the water part, don't worry, it's meant to get wet, so you're not going to ruin anything.
Right.
But please remember, these fins, the condenser fins, they are a little bit fragile. Mm-hmm. So they're not really meant to be scrubbed down with a hard brush. You can maybe use an old paint brush that's nice and soft. Mm-hmm. You can use that. And when you're rinsing it out, let's just make sure that your hose is not set to that jet setting.
Yeah.
Better set it to that shower or mist setting. Okay. That's going to really help to really bring down all that dirt, pollen, dust that's in between those fins, right? The cleaner they are, the better job they do to take out the heat.
Right.
And your unit will last longer and it will be more efficient.
Absolutely. Now, the last maintenance items that we really want to talk about today are your appliances, right?
So, replacing an appliance can be a large and unexpected expense, right?
Sure.
When you take the time to maintain them, you can keep them running at peak efficiency and often extend their life. Let's get that 10 plus years out of them for sure.
Yeah.
Now, if your refrigerator has a water dispenser and an ice maker, then that has a filter and it will need to be changed. Filter life will vary. So at best practice, it's best practice to change it when you move in and then check the manufacturer's recommendation on how often it should be changed after that.
Yeah, that's great advice. Now, most people really don't think about cleaning the appliances that do your cleaning, right? Like your washing machine or your dishwasher, right? You know, they constantly have cleaners in them. They must be clean.
Sure.
Well, washing machines, especially those new front loaders, can get that musty smell.
Yeah.
There can also be a buildup of detergent in both your washing machine and your dishwasher. And your dishwasher may even get like a greasy buildup sometimes. Sure. All right. There are cleaners that you can run through these machines. They're usually just tablets that you put right in, then you run through a cycle, usually your hottest and longest cycles, right? To give it some time. And that's going to break up all of that buildup, detergent, eliminate some of those smells, and keep those appliances performing at their peak levels.
I like that.
Right? Now, the cadence in which you clean them is going to vary depending on the machine and the use. So make sure, again, you're checking those manufacturer's recommendations on both the machine and the cleaning product that you're using. It'll let you know how often you should do it.
Once you find that out, then again, use your smart device to set a reminder for you.
Yeah.
Or in this case, for instance, on this box, you see here on the side, it says the months.
That's
so
awesome.
Go ahead and check off the month that you did, and then you know that for the next month, you go ahead and check that one off, and you keep on throughout your year. That way you keep track of this, okay?
Love it.
All right. So the final appliance you really want to clean regularly is your oven.
Yeah.
Not only will keeping it clean prolong its life, it will also prevent greasy buildup, which is a major cause of fire.
Yeah.
If you have a self-cleaning oven, you should go ahead and use it whenever you start to see buildup form, right?
Yeah.
Or you can also scrub your oven with an oven cleaner if you don't have the self-cleaning feature. Or if some areas need some extra attention.
Yeah. Right? You know, you can use that self-cleaner and still have some of those grubby areas left. Afterwards, you can go ahead and hit those with the cleaner.
Worst thing that can happen is you do not want a grease fire on a Thanksgiving or a Christmas dinner. Okay, just because you didn't take the time and regularly clean your oven. Yeah. Remember, the more you clean, the easier it will be to clean later.
True.
All right? True. It's less time you're going to be on that. So Robin, apart from just cleaning an appliance on the inside and out, what else can be done to these items for your own safety?
Sure. You know, great question. You know, disinfecting them is a great way to maintain the appliances and keep you and your family safe. You know, some appliances maybe aren't run as often as others.
Sure.
And this can potentially lead to bacterial growth or odor. You know, think of things like maybe if you have an extra freezer in your house that doesn't get opened all the time.
True.
By disinfecting the inside and outside, we can ensure that next time they're used, they're completely safe. Especially like your refrigerator. You get a lot of stuff in it. You use it a lot, but you get a lot of stuff in and out.
Yeah.
You could get a lot of cross-contamination with raw meat and things like that. So make sure you're disinfecting them regularly to kind of keep you safe.
Love it.
Now, we have covered a lot of material today that's going to add to the safety and longevity of your new home. We discussed how an inspection report can give you insight to the overall condition of your home and offer you some peace of mind. we talked about some safety items that you should probably address that often get overlooked in the excitement about moving in.
That's right.
And finally, we touched on the importance of regular maintenance to keep your home's appliances and systems performing at their best for years to come.
It has been a great workshop, and we hope we have given you a little more insight into what goes on into being a new homeowner. And we hope we have given the confidence, right, to maintain your new home for years to come. On behalf of Robin, myself, and the whole Workshops Live team, thank you for joining us today. Feel free to visit homedepot.com/workshops to see all of our available content. Now, please stick around, take our survey so that you can tell us what workshops you would like to see next. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.